family ONPASSIVians, or as we wait for our CEO, Mr. Ash, to lead us to the next phase of our company. You're all welcome to this day webinar, August, let's see, August the 17th.
Recording in progress.
All right. Thank you, Dr. D. Dr. D is in the house. We appreciate you. So I want to welcome all our fellow family brothers, sisters, kings, and queens to the webinar, Dream Team webinar today. We are going to have an exciting presentation today. I'm sure we have seen our flyer, but as we get into that presentation theme, I want to say and acknowledge also our family, brothers, kings, and queens on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for our leaders who are there also working in the background in YouTube. Queen Sister Rose and Brother Mumudu, we appreciate you. Thank you. And then going on as we are about to begin our webinar session for today, I want to call on none other than our brother King, Dr. Derek, to share with us our signature tune by our one and only Queen Lorato, the angelic voice that we
Kanla, you're fading away.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I think my volume is all the way top. Oh, 62, maybe. All right, I'm going to increase it. Thank you for letting me know.
Very good.
Okay, that is taken care of. Over to you, Queen Dr. Derek. But meanwhile, just some house cleaning. Dr. John, as our host, if we can mute everybody's mic so that anyone
shining bright into the future.
Next up is ONPASSIVE.
ONPASSIVE.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Door. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Dr. Derek. I mean, that is just wonderful what you do every Sunday with the music, the updates, the nonverbal updates that you share with us every time we watch our signature tune. We appreciate you, and I hope everyone takes the time to follow along and be able to see where we are. Because to be honest with you, that is the journey of our company where we have been. And nobody does it in a unique way. Talent, skill like Dr. Derek. So we sincerely appreciate everything you do. All right. Now we go to the next agenda item, but as we head into the next item, I am excited today. And I know we are all excited today for different reasons, because we have a very special guest and topic that is near and dear to our heart. And also, we all were witnesses this week listening to our CEO. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better week to have these two events happen at the same time. So yes, I hope you are as excited and looking forward to. But before we get there, let us call on our sister, our Queen Yvonne, to guide us into our mindset for today's presentation.
Thank you, sister.
And I mean, we all know she is quick, sharp, straight to the point.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Relatable.
Oh, that's true. Oh,
So
that's true.
just pay attention and let us ask her to grace us into our conversation for today. Over to you, Queen Yvonne.
Thank you, Queen
you
Kanna.
look lovely today. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody. It's gonna be quick, I hope. Yeah. So as usual on here, we who believe, we want to thank God for life and for a sound mind and sound body. We want to thank you that all his promises are something we can stand on. So today, I just want to go right into it. The mindset of shared debt. What do we owe each other? So family, I want to begin with a question as usual, one that may seem simple, but it carries a weight that can change how we live and love. What do we owe each other? And some might say nothing. I work hard. I take care of myself, and everyone else should do the same. But is that really true? Or is there something deeper, something written into the fabric of our humanity that calls us to recognize a shared debt, one that cannot be measured in dollars and cents, but in love, in kindness, in responsibility to one another? What do we owe each other? At first glance, the very question may feel uncomfortable. We live in a culture that often exalts individual freedom, self-reliance, and personal success. But at its core, this question assumes a profound mindset that we are not merely isolated beings, but are bound by a shared and sacred debt, one born not of contracts or transactions, but of our common humanity. So as the poet John Donne famously wrote, no man is an island, or no one, nowadays we're going to say that, entire of itself. Everyone is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. This timeless truth reminds us that our existence is not self-contained. To flourish as human beings, we must acknowledge that we belong to one another. So I'm going to go at this from the Christian worldview. This shared debt finds its deepest grounding in Scripture. The Apostle Paul reminds us, let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. For whoever loves others has fulfilled the law. This is in Romans 13, verse 8. This is not the language of economics, but of morality. It is not optional, but foundational. In James 2:8, It is called the royal law, which is to love your neighbor as yourself. And then there's the creation story and our shared humanity. The book of Genesis presents humanity as created in the image of God. Genesis 1:27. This truth is not only theological, but deeply practical. If each person bears the divine imprint, then our responsibility toward one another transcends cultural, political, or social boundaries. And then there's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He captured this when he declared, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." This statement resonates with the biblical vision that we are at heart a single human family. Therefore,
Sister Yvonne, unmute yourself.
you did me, Dr. John, you don't want to hear me? I know. What a sibling owes another, not just tolerance, but love, not just civility, but compassion, and not just coexistence, but care. And we have the model of Christ. This lofty idea is embodied perfectly in the person of Jesus Christ. He did not merely teach us about shared debt, he lived it by touching lepers, Matthew 8, dining with tax collectors, Mark 2, and welcoming children. Jesus shattered the barriers of exclusion. He demonstrated that to honor our shared humanity is to serve with humility and courage. The most dramatic moment of this ethic was when he knelt to wash the feet of his disciples in John 13. In a society consumed with hierarchy and status and power, Jesus redefined greatness as service. He modeled what leadership and love look like when expressed through hands-on action. He said, "I have set an example that you should do as I have done for you." It does not mean that we have to go around watching each other's feet, but it means to be of service as required when we can. And of course, the cross is the ultimate revelation of this debt. It was not a mere transaction to cancel sin, but a radical declaration of love. Christ's sacrifice embodies the willingness to give all for the sake of others. It reminds us that we owe one another. What we owe on one another may at times be inconvenient, it might be sacrificial, and it might even be costly. And to live out this debt, how then do we live out this mindset in our modern world? It begins with a way of seeing. Philosopher Simone Weil once said, "Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity." Living out the debt of love means choosing to see the divine spark in every person we encounter, whether friend or foe, stranger or neighbor. Practically, this translates into the small daily choices that reveal our character. Listening without interrupting, forgiving when it would be easier to keep a grudge, offering kindness when met with indifference, and extending patience even when others seem undeserving. The Apostle Paul encourages this rhythm: carry each other's burdens. In this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ. Even in the mundane, whether being gracious to the driver who cuts us off, patient with the coworker who frustrates us, or generous to the stranger, we are practicing repayment of this holy debt. So the question remains, in the end, the true question is not whether we owe one another something, but whether we are willing to pay the price of our shared humanity. The philosopher Albert Schweitzer once remarked, "The purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to help others." This is a debt we carry, not to diminish our freedom, but to elevate our humanity. It is a debt that cannot be paid in full, yet in striving to repay it, we draw nearer to the heart of God and to the essence of who we are created to be. As Jesus himself declared, "By this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." And a quick little framework, the Ubuntu framework. Here is where the wisdom of Africa meets the wisdom of Scripture. The philosophy of Ubuntu declares, "I am because we are." It affirms that our humanity is tied to the humanity of others. To make this more practical, I will just give a quick little acronym, the UBUNTU, that's Ubuntu. U is uniting hearts, recognizing we are one human family. And the B is bearing burdens, carrying each other's loads. The U is upholding dignity, seeing the divine image in every person we meet. The N is for nurturing compassion, daily acts of kindness and care. T is transforming through service, following Christ's example of humble service without self-promotion. And U is unlimited, unconditional love, the continuing debt to love one another. Ubuntu is not just an idea, it's a lifestyle. It is the practical daily repayment of the debt of love that we owe one another. The mindset of shared debt expressed through Ubuntu is not a burden, but a blessing. For in giving to one another, we discover our truest selves and reflect the heart of God. Let me just add that we will never do this perfectly. Only Christ could and did. Our part is to do our best each and every day. And so the mindset of shared debt is not a weight to drag us down. It is a gift that lifts us up and encourages us to come up higher. For in loving one another, in serving one another, we do not lose ourselves. We find ourselves and our reason for being. That's it. Thank you for listening.
Mm. Oh my goodness. You brought it full circle again, Queen Yvonne. Oh
Thank you.
my goodness.
Thank you. Thank
Not
you.
only beginning with the biblical understanding, but facts, you also linked it to the African framework of Ubuntu. This, yeah, I am because you are.
Yes.
Founded in the origins of the Bible, because those are the words of God. I am because you are.
Yes.
And
yes.
everything that we are, our existence, our being, everything we do stems from him.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so, like our neighbors. And
Yes.
so, you cannot live as an island. I love that word.
Yeah.
I recall in my formation years at the university when we were studying sociology. Man is not an island. And
we love talking about self-made, right? But no person is.
no person is. And this mindset explicitly reminds us of that fact. So, I mean, you nailed it. Oh my gosh.
Thank you, sister.
Nailed it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Simple, relatable, full of so much wisdom. So thank you, my sister. You did it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Who can beat that mindset? Apart from, let's hear how our King and Dr. John will take us smoothly into this, and also at the same time hear what he has to say, how that mindset is going to lead us into our topic of today, which is generational wealth, preservation, and efficient transfer. Generational wealth, preservation, and efficient transfer. Dr. John is no stranger to us. Thanks to him and Queen Dr. Pat, that is why we are here every Sunday on this platform. And we've been doing that for 5+ years. Over 500+ webinars. We have not failed. We are still going, and we will continue going. Dr. John has graced us with so many topics, from financial awareness, financial preparation, and has never stopped, including mindsets as well. Beautiful, powerful mindsets. We have all witnessed it, and yet he is still offering the services, the support, his skill, his talent with us And today is one of those days where we tell you we are honored to have you. We do not take it for granted, having you, your knowledge, your skill, the platform, everything you do. And we are always glad to learn from you, to be educated every time you come to grace us, because finances is something that is closest to our hearts, and it's something that we all are going to learn, not only from here, but we also learn out of this platform, and it impacts us every day of our life, whether we know it or we don't know it. So this platform has actually given us the opportunity to know a lot more than if we were not on this platform. So thank you, Dr. John, for all you've been doing. I'm excited and I'm looking forward to what you have for us today. Over to you. Welcome.
Wow. I didn't even know you were talking to me. Oh, wow, 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 and wow. Queen Yvonne Finch. I think all that was left to say was amen after that gospel. You know, after listening to you, I just stand back and I say, you know what? What I owe every single one of you, every one of the 36 of us on this platform, is that opportunity to show love. And, you know, the crazy thing is, it's easier to love than to hate. It takes so much energy. It takes so much energy. And I've just been blessed listening to our queen here share this most powerful mindset of today. It just goes to complement something that I heard at service today, that, you know, we all need a mentor. And when you're looking for a mentor, you need to look at somebody that you want to emulate and someone that you want to follow. Not follow like we just follow stars and so on, but follow that person to point you to one direction. And you've just pointed us to that direction, that the best thing that we can do for ourselves today is just to extend love to one another. So just in case she said it 5 times, 10 times, and you did not get it, I just want to tell you that on behalf of this dream team, we all love you all. And so, following what Queen Kanla said, there is no way I'm going to try to say more than what she had done. There's absolutely no way I'm going to actually beat what she had said. But I'm going to pretend to also share some ideas that it's with love from my heart. And this is like an anchor presentation. Why? Because we have shared this in the past on this forum or on other forums. And I see it as being very necessary, because even in the Bible, it is told, we're saying that a good person leaves an inheritance to the grandchildren. They didn't say to the children, you take care of your children, you leave an inheritance to the grandchildren. And so in this, our legalistic and in our contemporary world, how do we actually make sure that we can exercise that? So somebody like myself, from Africa, one thing that when I heard this topic actually resonated with me, and many of you, maybe not people who are out here in the United States more so, we realized that when many of us were growing up, our fathers had farms, they had homes, and they planted some crops that we normally called cash crops. Those were meant not just to be harvested and eaten this year, but those were meant to produce year in, year out coffee, cocoa, bananas, some of those things that would produce over and over. And when our parents, when we were growing up, they emphasized the need for education. And then you need education in order to take care of yourself, or to make things better in life. You need to be able to make some income, to be comfortable. But then at the end of the day, when most of them had lived their lives and transitioned to the next world, what they normally left for us was some sort of a legacy. It could be land, it could be a farm, or something that was an inheritance. And there were traditional ways that you either go to the heir or it gets divided to whatever. And then the hope was that this next generation is going to be custodians of that land, that home, or whatever, and hopefully pass it over to the following generations. When we find ourselves in a world where we're no longer farmers, some of us may not even own homes, or most of us, let me put it that way. The reason I say most of that is that when I heard that I was not a homeowner initially, I got like, I felt insulted until somebody said, oh, where's the title? And I realized the title of my property is with the bank that gave me a mortgage. So if you default on that loan for 2 months or so, they seize it from you. So it is not yours. But that said, we think that we own these properties or we have some assets, and we don't really know what to do, how to keep them, and the best way to be able to transfer them over to the next generation. So when I came across this topic of wealth preservation, I became excited and I wanted to read more about. And there was a book that I read, and it talked about a bridge, and it showed one generation from one side and the other generation on the other side. And obviously, the generation on one side were the parents and grandparents, and you had the younger kids on the other side. And the question is, how do those parents make sure that all these assets they have eventually get transferred? Some of us said, I've educated my kids, they need to take care of themselves. But at the end of the day, I don't care whether you have a car, you have just a home with a tiny bit of equity. Those are assets that you need to be able to protect and preserve. So as we go through life, we come across a lot of tools, financial tools. And we see that generally, as we say, life is a puzzle that if we look at it from the financial side of things, there are many things that we need to be able to do. We need to be able to prepare for some sort of college education for those who have prepared for retirement, how to manage our debts. You know, there are lots and lots of things that we need to be able to do. But when you look at this idea of estate planning or preserving those, what you're saying is don't just let these things, you know, be thrown around like you're seeing on the bottom left of this drawing. But what you want to do is actually make sure that there is a system or there's some way that you use these little blocks instead of throwing them randomly, stack them up in a way that actually creates the house that gets protected. And the sad thing is that many of us don't actually think about doing it until it is late. Think about any project that people do. The first thing is planning. And a plan normally precedes whatever it is you're trying to get in life, whether it's even going to school or whatever. I know that as young kids, our parents will probably do that initial planning for us. But if you're going to go ahead and do a construction, you have to have a blueprint. You have to have something. And therefore, the idea of putting a plan together is something that we need to take really seriously. Let me just show you some statistics for North America. if you don't have a plan and the worst should happen, you know, a lot of it can just be taken off by costs that you never anticipated. If you look on the right-hand side, they say in the United States here, over 55% of people think that passing away without an estate plan is irresponsible. Absolutely. Okay, that's more than half of the people. They'll just say, yeah, it's irresponsible that you didn't have some sort of a plan. But guess what? Even more people, almost 7 out of 10, have no plan. So here we are. We're saying it's irresponsible not to do something. So at least the first thing is we've admitted there's a problem and we do nothing about it. So you think that this is just something that only me and you who don't really have assets will get worried about. When I attended a training on this topic the first time, and the guy said, how many of you have like an estate plan? To me, the word that came to mind was estate. And I was thinking about the estate as what? Those millionaires that have accumulated a lot and need to shield them. So I put my hand up as those who didn't have it, obviously. And then the guy paused and said, how many of you happen to have a car? You have like some assets in your home, count your clothes if you care. You have some money in the bank, and you have a home with some equity in it. About 95% of the people put up their hand. How many of you would be willing to give away that equity on those things that you just listed? Nobody happily would give away their $5,000 or $10,000. So he said, you didn't think you needed an estate plan and you're not willing to lose the things you got. So how the heck do you think you're gonna actually protect these things if something were to happen to you? So the key matter is that when it comes to legacy protection, I've said it, about 70% don't have. A lot believe that establishing a will before you get to the age of 45 is not necessary. Okay, I don't know, and guess what? A lot of people think that they would like to actually have some instructions laid aside for their loved ones if they're not able to make those decisions. Those include even some of the superstars we know about. So at the bottom here, you see just some that you recognize, some that, depending on your age, you may not, that passed away. And the irony is that these people passed in their prime, young. They're not like old people that had gone to the, they typically say 70+10. So you should start worrying around 70 or whatever. None of this hit that age, and they passed away. We had a more recent one, like this guy, the Black Panther. That was 2020. So wow, 5 years ago now. And this guy passed away. He had a decent estate. You would have thought that with that amount of estate, there should be a plan, but he didn't have a will. And talking about a will, that is one of the items of an estate plan. We'll touch on it, but if any of us on this platform today has nothing, there are two things you can do. One, just write one, even on a plain piece of paper, date it, sign it, keep it somewhere, and say that I, John, on this day, I'm of sound mind and I can think and breathe for myself. These are just some things I want to put down, and put them down, write them, put in a safe. If you want to go to a next step, there are actually free services online that would help you to establish what they call a basic living will. Why is it a will and you say living? Because you can change it and change it and change it. But this guy, if you remember, he passed away. He was sick just for a short time and he passed away. And If you look at the black line, or better still, if you look at the text that was written, according to court documents, the value of his estate is about $939,000, which the wife was in possession of. The documents also state that the appraisal of the known cash property will be made by a probate referee. So it was not going to be made by the wife, not made by the family, but it was made by someone else, a probate referee. And 2 years later, the probate referee came up and said, okay, this guy actually had $3.8 million of assets in his estate. And that was supposed to be split evenly between his wife and his parents. Okay, if you look at the math, 3.8, you divide that by 2, it should be $1.9 million each. But the statement below says 2.3 is evenly split between the families. Hang on. 3.8 and now 2.3 is being divided. Where did 1.5 actually go? If you look again, the black stuff on the left side, his wife gets 1.15, his family gets 1.15, and the government gets to get what? 1.5. Okay, so our Uncle Sam was sitting there, had no business in this guy's estate construction, but guess who had the majority of it? Someone else, not the ones that he cared about. So why is that important? It's important because he actually did not have that opportunity or the education or the advice to actually put together a plan for himself. And so when we talk about estate planning, we're not talking here that you wait until such a time that you have like $5 million, $10 million of an estate and you put a plan. As I said, even our parents, they made an estate plan by speaking to some of the family elders and identifying one of the kids to be the successor, or they would even decide that they were going to divide their property and give X this, give Y this at some point in the future. So they had a plan, and we need to be thinking along the same lines. So why is it important? An estate plan helps you preserve your estate. And part of that preservation is also protection. So why do people not do it? You know, something that it is only for the wealthy to worry. Again, that word estate, and when you think of an estate, it's something big. No, please. You are the king or queen of your own estate. And just like kingdoms and of different sizes, you know, yours might be a small kingdom or a large kingdom. It doesn't mean that you have to actually not care about its subjects, including your assets. Some people think it's too costly to get a planner. And the highlighted point is others will simply not think about it, believing that there's still time in the future. Okay, if you know that time in the future, if each and every one of us knew how long we're going to live in this world, I'm sure we would all, you know, live the most reckless lives. We're going to do some crazy things. And then when it is like 10 minutes to the time, you know, you sit down and start preparing your life properly. But that's not how life is. And then we have the fact that, as I said, life throws curveballs at us. And one statement I took, at least for us here in North America, if you don't, every one of us has an estate plan. As you just seen with Chadwick Boseman, that plan is either one that you put together for yourself or one that will be put together for you by some authorities using the word probate. Why then leave everything to chance when you have the opportunity to be able to do it for yourself? And the last bullet that I just want to talk about here is that because of all these things, these mindsets that people have, they just don't bother getting it. But the truth is that just as our queen talked to us about mindset, having some sort of a plan actually helps, give us peace of mind, that you know that there are certain instructions. We know a lot of people would have had all of these wills and stuff, and then when they pass away, children or some uncles or aunties, they just pop out from the woodwork and they want to come challenge it. That's a different story. But if you never had anything, those challenges could end up being that the person who is able to speak the loudest or have the deepest pocket is going to prevail. But if you had something down on paper, the game could be different. Now, what are some of the things that we need to do when it comes to putting our estate plans in place? We need to think that when you are preserving your estate, it's not just the idea of, oh, let me make sure it stays within my family, but you also have to start thinking about some things for now and later. Some of the things now are like control, protection, and use. And then some of the things for later include the taxes, which could also affect you now, as well as for later. I know just throwing this out on their own does not really make sense. This is probably the most math I'm going to do here. And this example, when I read it in the book that I mentioned earlier, and I'll dig I can't remember the title off the top of my head right now. What they said is, many of us have lived through the normal life where somebody passes away or somebody is about to pass away, and they just divide their assets amongst the children. So the example they said is, just imagine you had the opportunity to actually amass $1 million and you had 4 kids. If you choose to divide that $1 million between those 4 kids, each of them will end up with about $250,000. Now, let's assume that these children are going to benefit from it, but they at least try and preserve that capital. And they preserve it. Somewhere down the road, they each have 4 kids, and they decide to pass that $250,000 to them. Now, the 250, you divide it by 4, it starts becoming down to about $62,000 and $62,500. And if you replay the same story, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay. If you play the same story and you move to the next generation, and each of them ended up with, again, say just 4 kids to make the math simple. And they had preserved that $60-something thousand. Then each of the 4 kids will end up with $15,000. If they have 4 kids each, guess what? There's nothing left after 3 generations. So you hear something say shirt sleeve to shirt sleeve ends up in 3 generations, because you have just diluted all of that. But if you understood the strategy and can put something together where that $1 million stayed in some sort of one piece, even if you got just if you were able to get like 10% from that, you could decide to have, yes, your first set of children, all they had was maybe $100,000, but you can set it up in a way that every generation will be having something, and depending on how you manage it, that million could be growing, and by the time you get to the 3rd generation, it could still be there and generate some wealth for the children. Yes, there may be many, but they would have actually had the chance of seeing some of that money in their 4th, 5th generation than if you just split it and everybody took it and bought their high-powered car. So that becomes one of the main reasons why when you look at the wealthy and you look at the wealth, you look at the Rothschilds of the world, you look at the Rockefellers of the world, everything is put in one bucket, and what is left as the growth of that continues to feed future generations to a point that some organization like the Rockefeller can happily generate $100 million just from their estate and give away to charity every year. And in the next 300 years, guess what? The principle is not touched. So we need to start thinking like the wealthy things. And if you remember, link it back to some of the things that Dr. Derek talked about. Build your wealth the King Solomon way, build it with wisdom. And we're just happy that we had this opportunity on this particular platform to be able to share some of these things so that we can at least know that when you see some of these families around, there are family A's and family B's. And unfortunately, as the saying goes, when you're born poor, it's not your problem. It's not your fault. You never chose to do it. But if you choose to become poor in your life, then you have to look at no one else than yourself. And I'm hoping that the knowledge we gain, we can apply some of it. So what are the benefits of doing some estate planning? As we said, it's a process of anticipating and arranging the management and disposition of your estate ahead of time. When you want to do that, just in case you get to a point that you are incapacitated, or even you get to a point that you pass away, your house is in order. Even from your faith, once the breath ends, there's no way that you can wake up and say, okay, I want to believe in God or believe in something. So your belief starts today. It provides strategies for charitable giving, and also, putting in strategies that will allow you to minimize on your taxes. So once you're able to actually put your estate in place, you can actually have your estate managed and disposed of in a way that you want, not in the way that you saw in that picture. This poor guy, $3.8 million of his money, 1.5 went to the government, and the wife was left with 1.15. His parents, 1.15. You can actually, if you structure it properly, depending on where you are and the tax situations of those countries, you can actually benefit from taxes in a great way. And as I mentioned, when you think about all those foundations that exist out there that do good, the Gates Foundations and all those type of other foundations in that, those guys don't really just go out and create some of those foundations because, okay, yeah, they like to help humanity, but there are also some benefits there for them. So we can learn about this and see how we can use some of these vehicles for our good. And then it gives you the ability to be able to protect your family's wealth. This one becomes really, really important. So I can talk in terms of like in the United States, we talk about irrevocable trust, and maybe I'll touch on that. An irrevocable trust is an independent entity. It has its own social security number or its own tax ID number, completely different from you. So if your assets were owned by that trust, you are not the owner of it. But you can always own your trust without, control it without being the owner. I don't care who of these big rich people we have. That is really something that is important. I mean, please just take this for the way I'm going to paraphrase it. A lady that actually had a presentation and talked about this trust. She actually identified herself as a Blaxican. And I was like, what the heck is a Blaxican? So she says she's a Black of Mexican descent. And then she said, okay, this first part of my talk, it's on YouTube. I followed it. She said, this part of my talk is for our Black brothers and sisters. And that we think that the world owes us something. And so when we have some sort of an asset, we want to grab it as hard as possible and say, it's mine, I want to control it, it's mine. And she said the only thing that she wants anybody to take away from her presentation is that don't own anything. And everybody went quiet. I mean, do not own anything. Instead, control everything. And that was the beginning of her discussion, that she wants us through estate planning, not to own anything, but to control everything. And so that's where some of these vehicles become very important. And so when you look at them and you start talking about the technicalities of trust, I think we've touched on this. There are some terminologies like anything else you coming across in life, they have their own lingua. So a trust would have words like grantor, creator, settler. Whatever they mean, the simple thing is that those are the people who set it up. And they can set it up to be direct beneficiaries, or they can set it for someone else to benefit from it. And then a trustee is somebody who actually manages them, those trusts or those establishments for the benefit of those who it is set up for. And then you got like the beneficiaries, obviously, are the people who are going to receive the rewards of it. And you come across things like a trust fund, trust account. They, depending on what part of the world you are in, the words are almost interchangeable. And so when you want to go and set up your trusts, depending on the type of trusts that you set up, one of the key reasons, benefits why you will want to do that is to be able to control your assets and preserve them, but not necessarily own them. You want to control them, but not own them. So what are some of the different types of trusts that we can use? You know, before we finish, let me just finish on these benefits. So in terms of the asset protection, because I had mentioned that some of these trusts, depending on how you set them up, are independent of you. If Queen Yvonne had the Yvonne Family Trust, and she also has her assets in her name.
I don't want to interrupt. Can everybody else see the presentation? I don't know why I'm not seeing it. Am I messing up things here? Like my end,
can you guys see it?
No, we
Yes.
can see it. I can see it fine.
Yes, I can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
It's my end. I don't know why I cannot see it. It's okay. I've figured it out.
All right.
Okay,
So you find a situation where, because I am so envious of Queen Yvonne, we get into some wrangle and I decide I'm going to try and take her to the cleaners to see as much assets that I can get off her. You know, I could even, you know, walk by and slip and fall outside her house and then tell her how dangerous her driveway was, and I've had an accident and it's made me to have nightmares in the night. I don't have to even have some physical thing, have some nightmares, and all of a sudden I cannot sleep well. I'm going to sue her for everything she has. And she comes up and we go through discovery and we find out that absolutely Queen Yvonne has no assets to her name, because all her assets are tied in a trust that she just happens to be a beneficiary, or maybe a trustee, but that is completely a separate entity from her. And so guess what? There's nothing that you'll be able to do. I'll say this poor lady, and then I go my merry way. play it another way. She decided to just hug onto every piece of asset that was hers. When we go through discovery, and this is a true story, it happened to me. When my kids were involved in a no-fault accident, and as I said, after a couple of years, the young man thought maybe they can get money from the car insurance company. They sued. Okay, John Ajongwen was not the driver, was not even in the state when the accident occurred, but the car happened to be in my name. So I had a stack this thick that came. And they told me part of the thing on the discovery was to list every single asset that I had. Retirement savings, stocks, bonds, houses, cars, that literally this everything. And then at the end, you had to sign that, you know, I declare that under perjury of law, I have declared everything. And I called the car insurance or the auto insurance company and say, hey, what the heck is this? And they say, oh, it's discovery. And I said, what's it about? And the lady at the other end said, well, I think they're doing phishing. And what they're going to do is, if they come out and realize that you have a lot of assets, what they're going to do is they will not sue the auto insurance. They're going to go after you personally. So the idea is, if they came up and I completed this paperwork and they saw that this guy has $100 million, what they will do is they will sue me for 200 million. And now I would sort of say, you know what, I would be completely wiped out if I go and pay 200 million. So if I had that 100, I may decide at that point to go and settle for 5 million, you know, get them off my back if I had 100 million. Now, when the guys, if they go through their discovery and realize that this guy is kind of some useless guy, is really has just like $50,000 worth of assets, they will stick with the insurance company because there is a $1 million liability on the insurance. So making sure that your assets are in the right bucket becomes really critical, because after that incident, I started realizing why this idea of asset protection is something that people talk a lot, about a lot. So really, your trust starts becoming very important for financial management. It becomes very important for that preservation of that asset, those assets, both now and in the future. So if you had a situation where one of your kids was young, below a certain age, and the parents had some assets in their name, or they were part of a trust, or no, not part of an inheritance. In most cases, those assets would be held by the courts until the person is of age. But if you had created a trust where these assets were in there in the first place, you could even define within your trust how you want those assets distributed. And that statement includes something that somebody talked about, controlling your wealth even beyond the grave. This is very important because I learned this from a wealthy guy who said he had set up his estate and he knew that his family would be taken care of for the next 370 years. That's 4 centuries. His family, and they'll be following his instruction. So he mentioned in the presentation that there were a couple of specific things that he values very, very much for him and his family. And he has put those inside the trust for anybody to qualify as a beneficiary. One, he said his trust would support the beneficiaries towards the purchase of a home. Not that they're going to buy homes for them, but they'll pay something towards a down payment. And he actually stipulated that the purchase towards the down payment of an average 4-bedroom home in the town you live. So if you choose to go live in Toronto, which is an expensive place, don't say, give me everything in the trust, because they're not going to just do that. He said the trust was going to help provide some support the beneficiaries through education. And he said, I know that education is not only the formal education. If you want to go and actually do some experiential, practical type of things, the trustees can look at it and say, would this provide education? And they'll do it. He said the trust will be able to support the beneficiaries towards the cost of their marriage. And again, it's not saying that the kids get up now and all of a sudden they want to fly to the moon to go do a wedding and they're not gonna break the trust down. But he said there was a percentage that the trust would provide, and to implant his beliefs in his trust for the next 370 years. This guy told us at the training that I'm not trying to tell you how you want to live your life, but in my family, in my trust, I define marriage as union between a male and a female. So he's not saying that the beneficiaries in the future cannot choose a different lifestyle. He was just saying if they choose that lifestyle is not supported by that trust. So he's controlling how his funds are going to be distributed 4 centuries later. And then he actually turned around and he put in that his document that, oh, by the way, beneficiary means the bloodline. So if one of the beneficiaries in the future goes and gets married to somebody who comes in and life happens and that marriage does not work, any children that were part of that union are beneficiaries. But the person that is leaving, goodbye. You did not bring anything into the trust. You benefited from it while you were there, but you're not going to say, give me 50% to go with it. So you can see the power of this type of instruments. This guy is thinking and he's giving broad latitude to the trustees that are going to manage. But there's some fundamental things that are so important to him in his faith and the way that he wants to bring his family up, that he put them down and they would remain there for the next 370 years, as he said it. And then he also said he does recognize that we live in a world that is changing, so he allowed some changes, but not any change. And he mentioned that if any of the beneficiaries at some point got into either substance abuse or they got into some of these situations where they needed some assistance, the trust would help them go through rehab and bring them back in the fold. If they opted that they don't want the rehab, good, go live your life, but not at the expense of my trust. So you can actually see why this financial management for now and in the future becomes important when you got these documents in. And obviously, institutions are using this type of vehicles for retirement planning as well as even employee planning. Those ones we're not going to really dwell a lot with. So when we look at the idea of the trust, some other benefits include the fact that there's a lot of confidentiality. There is they can even build in succession planning, because you're not waiting there that I have nominated Queen Canla to be the successor, and then she takes everything and says, forget about the other kids. You already said, okay, this is how it's going to go, and people will follow it based on how you do. And we talked about taxes, we talked about the vulnerable, but the idea of avoiding probate becomes very, very, very important. Just think about that first slide I showed you. If this guy, Chadwick Boseman, had all his assets in a trust, that trust did not die the day he passed away. All the things that would have continued, every instruction would have continued as if he was alive. If he were if he were a trustee to that trust, then that trust will have a way to replace the trustee. It will not say that the trust all of a sudden winds. It doesn't mean that trusts don't close down or they don't wind down. It just means that because that entity did not die, there is no this discussion of having that probate referee coming into it. Therefore, making sure that we understand some of these things is very, very, very important. And for us to do that, obviously, your trust has to operate within the rules. So the people who are responsible for managing it, they need to make sure that that the trust has its own special tax ID. They have their own bank accounts, and you actually work with somebody who understands how to move assets in and out of the trust so that you don't instead create a tax problem by doing that, as well as other good practices that either trust firms, some CPAs, or attorneys will be able to help you out with. Now, I was talking just in generality here, but what I also want to just touch here really is that when we talk about trust, they like two basic types. I use the word basic. I'm not saying that only two, but generally, one of them is what I call the revocable living trust, and the other one is the irrevocable. Most of what I have been talking have sort of been looking at you using the irrevocable one for your protection. But before we get there, each and every one of us should and must have at least what we call the living trust. They are cheap to set up. They are absolutely necessary to set up. At the bottom of it is your basic living will, which is your final will and testament. It's saying, if I'm not here, this is how I want things to be done. Accompanying that basic will are the three other documents. At least, I'm probably US-centric, but I think it'll be wise for you to include those. The first one is the financial power of attorney, which says, in the event that I am not able to make financial decisions, X should be the person that will make those decisions on my behalf. That does help a lot in terms of who's going to decide on the mortgage, who's going to decide on what happens with this account, blah, blah, blah. So having that put in there under that financial power of attorney becomes very important. Alongside that is this healthcare directive. Do you want to be resuscitated? Do you want your family members to leave you on, life support till, what do you want? Do you want to be fed when food is of no value to you? Who would make that decision whether they should turn off, the life support machine? Those are very emotional discussions, decisions that families don't want to deal with. One of the family members would love to see daddy just be there. No, please, let's give it another chance. Let's give him another chance and another chance. And then somebody say, you can see the person is suffering. There's no more quality of life. And so, yeah, it's a tough thing to do, but it is something that you need to talk about it. You need to actually even tell your wishes. I do not want to be resuscitated. And at that point, even though I am sitting there saying, I wish daddy could hang on for another 5 years, he's got to a point that he made that decision as well. And then the attorneys who help set up that basic will always add this, what they call, at least I learned, called pour over will. It's like a catch-all thing. You say, oh, I know that my assets change. I know that maybe I bought the new car like 2 days ago. I haven't had time to update my will to add the car to it. But if there are any other assets out there that I forgot to put them, which are my personal assets, just add them in there because I forgot them or I just didn't get to putting them. And so this one just catches everything. Those are the revocable ones. Why are they revocable and living? Because you can change them anytime. You are the one who is the creator. You have someone else as the beneficiary. You can be the trustee because you are the one managing it. But at the end of the day, you can come in tomorrow and say, this particular child it's grown now, or you may have a situation where you have, let's say, multiple kids. Some of them are just like getting into the beginning of their education. Others are well settled. You may have decided to put a bit more money towards them in case something happens to you, but then you get to a place where they're all grown, they're happy, and then you want to balance up things. Or you may find some crazy one like me that you say, okay, you know what, I've talked to you more than 10 times and you don't want to follow any of my instructions, you're out. So you can change that. You keep changing it until your last breath. And once you've taken your last breath, it becomes irrevocable because it cannot be changed again. And the irrevocable ones, again, the power of an irrevocable one is the person that created it surrenders control of it and cannot change it. So yeah, I'm dead, I cannot change it. So it becomes irrevocable. But when you look at it from an estate planning point of view, you want to look for a CPA, you want to look for an attorney, or you want to look for somebody who would actually be able to create those trusts for you. Once they create the trust, they are the creator. You can be the beneficiary. Sorry, and as well, yes, you can be the beneficiary or the trustee. Now, if you are the trustee, you are the one who's controlling everything. But because it is created by someone else, it has an individual separate tax ID or social security or whatever you call in your different areas. Those ones, you are not the owner of it, even though you control what investments that trust can do. You even control what each beneficiary can have. And as a result of you being a trustee of that trust, you can actually have some beneficial uses to the trust assets. For example, the trustee may be allowed to live in a trust-owned property. Think about it. Okay, that it's owned by the trust. I happen to be the trustee. I'm living in the trust house. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of my remunerations for being a trustee on that trust. A trustee, depending on how you put it, is entitled to some reasonable compensation from the trust. So I can, get some living allowances. Now that I'm living in a trust home, the mortgage is not on my head. So I can actually, so you can see how the power of this. And then the trust can sponsor the beneficiaries through school. I'm not the one worried about my kids' education. It's owned by the trust. The trust is paying it because they're the beneficiaries. The only thing is the trust documents typically can be altered based on what conditions you put there, or some parts can be modified depending on the language in the trust documents. And the person that created that trust is gone. They have absolutely zero input in it. So if I went and paid an attorney and the attorney created it, and we walked through and transferred all assets into that trust, out from my name, out from my family's name, and now the trust, I'm a trustee of that trust. This is where I am in control of every single one of my assets, but I own none of them, and I can benefit from them. And guess what? That trust can own another trust, or it can own a business. And so it becomes like, there are laws that you have to abide by, but you can see how if somebody were to come now and start getting at you, you're not there. You're there, but you're zero. And so there are different types of trusts that people can use for different things. The first one, which we talked about, obviously the living trust is for you. The next one is what I'll call a business trust. So we know a lot of people go out, they form LLCs and all whatnot. There's nothing wrong with you just setting up your business as a trust. There are lots of businesses that are set up as trusts, and I think Walmart is even a business trust. I have to look at it. It's not, it doesn't matter what they do. They manage themselves as a business trust, and then they own the business. But for our purposes, what we need to do is create, if you want to go that next step beyond the family trust, the living trust, is to think of creating a family trust for yourself. And that family trust is the one that is going to own all your assets. That's the one that's going to be able to do like what I was explaining that this wealthy person did to protect his family for 370 years. And those trusts could actually have, the trust can take a life insurance policy on each beneficiary. They can take a life insurance on whoever, and they can own that life insurance directly, or they can actually have that life insurance owned by an irrevocable life insurance trust owned by that family trust. So there are different ways that you can do it. And then there is, in the United States, there's one that they call a charitable remainder trust. These ones are not like, I want to just clarify that they are not charities or charitable trusts, but they are just tax optimization vehicles. What I mean is, at the end of the year, and at least again, based on the US here, your trust, your family trust is supposed to do tax filing and say, okay, the trust had this income, they had these expenses, blah, 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 and these are the net proceeds of the trust. You could choose to pay taxes on those assets, or you could choose to just donate those assets to a charitable remainder trust. And now there's some rules that govern how the charitable remainder trust operates. For example, one of the rules here in the States says, as long as that trust gives away a minimum of 5% of their income to a recognized charitable organization, then there are some tax advantages to the beneficiaries or the owners of that trust. So you could have a family trust that chooses to donate some of their income or their net proceeds to the charitable remainder trust, which then does that, meets the charitable donation, and some of that money that's left there will actually enjoy tax advantages. The why this one says charitable remainder is that if at the end of the day the trust is closed or the trust is no longer viable, whatever is left goes to a good charitable organization. So when I go to the last slide, you'll see how if you actually think outside of the box and look and put this together in the right way, it could be very powerful. And then you have what we call the private foundations. The private foundations in the US here, they call like the 501c, or in different places, that's just a tax designation. So things like the Clinton foundations, the Gates foundations, those are like private foundations. And those foundations, they do a lot of philanthropy, but nothing stops. As far as those foundations are concerned, there is a certain amount of their income that can be used for charity. And then they have all this staff that are running those charities. And some of the people running the charities, if you remember very well, like you'll see that some of the spouses of the people that set up those foundations end up being like the presidents or CEOs. So as long as your family is really into philanthropy, there's nothing wrong in actually having them full-time employees and executives of these private foundations, as long as the foundation meets their tax requirements. So when you look at all of these vehicles, the fiduciary or business trust, working together with a family, working with a charitable remainder trust, and working with a private foundation, when you follow that round circle, there are tax filings required for each stage, but you can literally go around that wheel and the tax burden becomes so minuscule, and you're able to still do what you want to do. So let me just end by sharing this one here. And my hope is not that you're going to read every slide of it, but I just want to share that, okay, you have on the far left-hand side of this graph, excuse me, you have like some smart guys, they created like their company. And that company, let's say it has these 4 people there, and each person, that company makes $1 million. They have an expense of $500,000, and there's $500,000 that's left that is taxable income. And they decided, you know what, we're gonna just distribute it to the different people based on their ownership. Now, Mr. Alex here has understood all these ideas of financial planning and good stuff. And he takes his own share of the funds. And instead of just saying that that was my income and go pay tax on it, he takes his $125,000 that he made and he gives it away to a fiduciary business trust that he just gives it. It's an irrevocable trust created by somebody. He may be the trustee on that, but the fact that he's gifted it away now means he has no tax liability. Now that trust actually takes it. It has some business expenses and other things. And let's say that there were expenses of about $25,000. There's $100,000 that's left there. If they choose, based on today's tax laws in the United States, to go file for taxes, they could actually pay about 40% of that $100,000 in taxes. But now this trust now is very, very generous, and they chose to donate the $100,000 to Mr. Alex's family trust, which is an irrevocable trust, legally established. He may or may not be the trustee. And that trust now also incurs some business expenses. And now it's left with $75K. It can go and file the taxes and pay 40% of that $75K, or they can choose to actually donate that $75K after these $25,000 tax-free expenses to a family charitable trust that Mr. Alex created. And that family charitable trust, it takes that $75,000. The law states that they have to donate at least 5% of that money to a charitable, to a recognized charity, registered charity. Now they basically go in there and they meet their criteria. What is 5% of 75,000? 3,750. It's okay. I have a private foundation that I created. I need to give it some money. I'm going to send them 3,750. And then what actually happens is that this charity will now give the charitable trust a tax donation receipt to say, yeah, this company donated 3,750 towards our charity. And so this trust now has $71,000, and that $71,000, it actually enjoys preferential tax treatment in the sense that about 50% of this could be used by the founders tax-free, literally. And the remaining 50%, if they were to file taxes, oh, by the way, they did actually give away 3,750 to charity. So that gets even subtracted from half of this for the purpose of taxes. So bottom line is, by doing this merry-go-round here, they would probably be a tax burden of maybe $60-something thousand that is possible, that could be taxed. But this trust now, because it's a charitable remainder trust, may or may not pay those taxes. Why? Because they know that the time that this trust does not exist, whatever is remaining here would go. So this trust could decide that I'm going to give 50,000 to my charity. They could play on any number. It reduces the tax burden here. So you can see here that even if the balance here was 71,000, Mr. Alex started off with 125,000. They actually are liable for 50% of a tax here because of all the good that they have done along this path here. And by the way, this 25,000 may just have gone towards paying for a life insurance by the trust on the life of Mr. Alex, and the life insurance is the owner. It doesn't really matter, but I hope you get the gist. Now, Mr. Alex's private family foundation does a lot of charity. They have kids in Africa that they have been sponsoring. They have some other families in South America or here in the United States or anywhere that they have been sponsoring directly out of pocket, getting no tax returns from them. Now it's being run officially through a charitable organization. Mr. Alex's daughter and spouse, maybe actually some of the executives in this foundation, they get paid an income. And so by the time everything is said and done, this person took $100,000 or $150,000, or even this person that took $100,000 as the smallest amount, probably paid a lot more taxes than this. Mr. Alex gave away all of his, he owns nothing. But somehow within this circle of ironclad legal structures, as long as they keep within the tax rulings, they will actually have done a lot of good to a lot of people. They would have created for themselves some sort of wealth, protected it, and at the same time not necessarily paid the right amount of taxes. So what I'm saying is there are lots of these vehicles that are out there. What we need to do is realize that they exist and know that we can, I don't say you should go do your living trust plus all of these four, but now you know. Our company had gone through hiatus and now things look like they're gonna pick up. And when they pick up and you start getting your own share here in the future, you may have an idea of what you could do with them. And then you go out there and you talk to the right people. And based on that information, you can make the right decisions for you, for your family, for humanity through these charitable organizations, as well as for future generations to come. Let me pause there and say thank you for listening. And you see why this is something that is very passionate to me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hand it back over to our Queen Kanla.
I think I don't even know what to say.
I know.
It is also something that I'm passionate about as well, as you know, and many of us have come to be passionate about, because we all have been here on this platform and on many other platforms that our King Dr. John has presented us with this information. So yes, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, where can we find that that deep, powerful, encouraging, insightful, thought-provoking information? If we were all to go back to school and sit within the four walls of the classroom, can we even get this depth of knowledge about trust and our financial well-being? We may, I'm not saying entirely not, but the in-depth, because this comes from real life practical experience as a financial professional. You gain this when you interact with other families, people in the field, one-on-one. And so that is a lot of information. I will not even try to say anymore. I will just let everybody take it in and allow other team leaders, if they have something to say first, and then while I wait. But for now, let us all take it in, think about it. If you have your questions ready for Dr. John, or if you need some concepts to be explained again, whatever you did not understand, feel free, be ready, raise your hand and ask to be permitted to, participate, or put in your questions in the chat so that we are able to answer all your questions when it comes to this topic that is so dear to all of us. And that is very crucial, especially as we continue on this, our journey, because this is going to be our business. It will come, that time will come. We don't want to be left behind, and we don't want someone else to make that decision for us, right? Our estate to go to probate. No, I personally, for one, I know I will not want that. So my hope is now is the time with the knowledge, we start preparing and we start putting things in place. So, I mean, a round of applause again for Dr. John Ajongwen. Thank you so much. That was powerful. That was powerful.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Yes. So I leave a little room to our leaders who may want to say a word or two before I go. We call on Dr. Derek for updates. Yes, Dr. D, I can see you coming through.
Yes, Dr. Derek, absolutely. You're right there that, again, I remember I said that one of the problems is that even if you do, whether people do surveys or whatever, the mindset is that the word estate already has a connotation of some large amount of work. And what I said is at the very bottom of it, those of us who think that we have just $200, we should even first of all consider. Remember, I said, even if you forget everything else I said, we should at the very least have our living wills. That is part of the estate planning. Just write those instructions. And I did mention, even if you don't want to go get an attorney or you don't want to use some of the free services that are there, let your will be known. Because if you don't do some of those things, you're leaving a lot of responsibility, you're leaving a lot of stress on the loved ones when it comes to making the decisions, and it actually starts. It could actually break families. Like once somebody will say, divide the land and become those King Solomon. Let's split the child up, or or you can own it. Those type of things. So they're very basic. Every one of us, and I mentioned, and I will say it again, is we need to get our own living wills, because that gives those instructions, your final wishes. You want to put them down, because it's gonna if Chadwick Boseman had even had a will that he had indicated that he wanted his estate to be split up between XY, that the probate amount would probably not have been the whole 1.5 million. It may have been something, but because they would have had to pay taxes, but it wouldn't have been the whole thing. So yes, you're right, Dr. D. When it starts coming to estates, we want to make sure that we start with the basics, which is you want to have your living will. You set that up and make sure that you have those elements of financial power of attorney, healthcare directive, and just the lawyer who's helping you would add that pour over. Once that is done, then the question is, do I need to actually start going the route of the family foundation? That is the first one. I told you, you don't need to do all the 4 in that circle I showed you. You may choose to just have a family foundation if your intention is not to just divide things amongst your kids. You want to keep them together. The best way to keep them together is to create that family foundation. And it doesn't have to be $1 million. It may just be your house that you want to keep it in the family name. It may just that may just be what you want to do. But obviously, if you're going to go out there and somebody is going to ask you to pay $2,000 or $3,000 to set up something that you want to just preserve $5,000, it doesn't make financial sense. So that's really where you need to make the balance. But then as you grow, I just want you to be aware that the other options are there.
Thank you, Dr. John. Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. John. Yes, Queen Yvonne.
Yes, Queen Scanda. How can I help you?
Yes. Do you have any question or anything to say? Yes.
Well, it's something Dr. John has done before, right? But he's coming at a different way and just refreshing our mind. And I just think what Dr. Derek said is correct, but that's our problem, our mindset. Because the thing is, these things are available to all of us. And in this case, it really is not about size, right? We all have an estate, as you just said, whether it's 5,000, 8,000, whatever. And in this case, size doesn't matter. But of course, the cost to get all this set up might outweigh whatever we think we're going to be putting in these instruments, right? And I was looking at the irrevocable trust, and I think, is Dr. John saying that, is it like a corporation in business? So you control, but you don't own? Is that the idea? That's what the irrevocable trust is all about, correct? Dr. John, you're not speaking. Well, you're speaking, but I'm not.
Sorry. Muted, but
sorry, I'm actually saying yes, and I didn't realize I was muted.
Okay, sir. All right, and so these instruments are all available for any one of us, from Joe Blow to Joe Millionaire, right? It's just, yes. Do we have the finances to and you're not advocating anything illegal here, no matter how roundabout it seems. The government is getting their taxes, and we're just trying to make sure that we minimize our money going to where we don't want it to go. There's nothing illegal about these things that you're talking about.
No.
Right? One global movement, which is ways where I'm also in that group, it's managed to, it's a very roundabout system, it looks like, to get to the 501c, but they're a 501c, so they already have done the groundwork. It's a nonprofit, and you need that, the 501c. Is it the same as the one that you're talking about?
Yes, and I just saying that I'll just show you how you can incorporate that into it. And somebody who already, for example, you just mentioned whether it's a 501c or it's the Red Cross or some other recognized foundation out there. If you became that wealthy type of individual that you set up that charitable remainder trust, you can still donate those funds to any recognized establishment.
Right.
It doesn't have to be yours. I'm just saying how people use all three to their benefit.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to ask, on the last slides, when you talked about Mr. Alex there, is it him? So did he not get anything to live on, or am I missing a point there? How did he get, okay, he got 125,000 out of the 500 that was left over, right? That's his pay? Is that what he earned?
That's what the company, he is part of an LLC on that slide, and that LLC met net taxable of $500,000 and distributed among the four of them.
Yeah.
He had his 125. Those 125, there is like $25,000 of business expenses that he incurred from his 125. That was that because he had gifted the 125 to his fiduciary trust. That trust actually incurred those business expenses. Now there was like 100 left, and that 100 now got gifted to his irrevocable family trust. He is the trustee of that trust. He's not the creator.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is that trust may actually own a house that it pays a mortgage on. And Mr. Alex just happens to be living in the family-owned trust. And the trust may also take a life insurance on Mr. Alex because they think of him as somebody important. And now, after they have spent their 25, their 75 that went to the charitable remainder trust that was set up by Mr. Alex. He is the creator of that one.
Yes.
Now, that trust donated something to any private foundation. That private foundation, as long as it's a recognized one, they met their tax threshold, and Mr. Alex is entitled to up to 50% of the remainder of that cash in there without paying taxes, but you pay taxes on the balance if he chooses to use more than 50%.
Okay, so he can buy his expensive car if he wants. I mean, how does he spend any money personally? That's what I want to know.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't. He can actually be paid by the family trust as a trustee.
Oh, that's right. So he does get some cash in hand. Okay.
Even if he chooses not to be paid by the family trust, and the family trust took some of those things like the life insurance premiums, and they already taken care of his accommodation. Now he may need to do his food shopping. Now, after the charitable remainder trust that he has created, it allows that trust has an income of $75,000. So he's starting off a tax base of $75,000, not of $125,000.
Correct. I get that. All right. Thank you, Dr. John. I was just wondering how he lives ordinarily.
No, he does live. He does live. He just doesn't own anything.
I would hate to have 125,000 and I don't get anything to live on because I'm setting up all these instruments, you know? So yeah, thank you, Dr. John. That makes perfect sense. Thank you so much. Queen Carla, there are some comments. Sorry, Dr. John. There are some comments in the chat, but I'll wait for Queen Dr. Benny or whoever else wants to comment before I read those. Yeah.
Yes, sure. I don't see any hand raised at this time, but do you see any? Let me go to. So any other leader who has a question or anything to chip in before Queen Yvonne reads the questions or the comments? If not, then we move on to the Q&D. The Q&D, but before the Q&D, we will allow Dr. Derek to come on with updates.
Okay.
Okay. If there are just comments, I think Queen Yvonne, we can wait for the Q&D.
Yes, of course. Of course.
All right. Thank you again, Dr. John. Thank you for the great presentation. At this time, we are moving on to the updates for this week. Oh my goodness. I'm sure all of us, or if not, if we have not listened, if we have not heard, we've had the time to go back to our OES, our ecosystem, to read the updates from O News, attended the updates with our CEO, Mr. Ash, and what he had to say. If you have not, then this is going to be a reminder for you to be able to go back, read the O News, and listen to what he had to say. But here on the Dream Team, we have a wonderful team led by Dr. Derek, who always will come on and grace us with the events of the company as it happens. And so this week is one of those weeks where we look forward to him coming up and telling us a lot more about the updates. So at this time, I'm calling on Dr. Derek. Over to you, King Dr. Derek, for our updates.
All right. Oh, mercy. All right. I am happy to actually be here once again. And thank you very much, Queen Kanla. Thank you very much for being the host today. Really appreciate. Awesome. And thank you very much, King Dr. John. Really appreciate your presentation. And I'm not sure why. Oh, my video is off. I'm not sure who turned off a video. Oh, okay, all right, it's working. Oh, mercy.
Yes, we
All this
see
while,
you now.
so hold on. All this while I was talking, there was no video.
No, we thought probably you just wanted to ask your question for the meantime, knowing that
Oh,
you were going
mercy.
to
No,
come
man.
back later on.
I have to show myself when I talking, man. Anyway, sorry about that. People, I really appreciate it. It was not intentional to not have on my video. And thank you very much, Queen Kamala. And most definitely, thank you very much, Queen Yvonne Finn. As you know, the mindset is of tantamount importante, very important, very important in our lives today, right? Because I tell you, it's what everybody has. It's a mindset. Everybody have a mindset. It's not something that you get. It's not something that you earn. It's something that you have. Everybody on the planet, every person on the planet, no matter how old, young, middle age, whatever your status is, whatever your ethnicity is, you have a mindset, right? Some persons are not able to express their mindset, but you have a mindset. All right. So let us grow that mindset. And of course, Queen Van Finn is ensuring that we grow our mindset. All right. And so thank you very much, Queen Van Finn, one of my favorite persons. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the lions in the room. So please don't be scared. She's very tamed, and she's not going to bite. No biting. She's a domestic lioness. Well, so no biting. No biting. Right, wonderful. Thank you very much, Queen Yvonne Finn. Thank you very much, Queen Kanla. Thank you very much, King Dr. John. And thank you very much, First Lady Queen Dr. Benny. Really appreciate you in room. Yes, you're listen. Don't be surprised, man. Your name have to call, you know. You don't have to say nothing. You don't have to say anything.
She's the queen. She's the queen, really? Yeah.
She's first lady. So you just have to acknowledge the first lady. Whether she chat, she talk, or she spoke, it doesn't matter. You have to call her name in every webinar, whether she's with here. It's just the first lady on Passive. Anyway, wonderful. King Dr. John, wonderful presentation. Wonderful presentation. Awesome. But as I said, I think that persons from them here $1 million, you know, it's like you're excluded. You exclude. That's you know. First of all, the first question in a person's mind: I don't have $1 million, so I am tuned out right away. Not with this presentation per se, but it's just general overall. That's why those figures, I believe, hence those figures, you know, people know that they should have will, they know they should have a estate, they know, right? But I don't think I need to get involved with all that because I don't have those categories of money that is highlighted in these examples. So I am excluded right away. All right. So that is just my take on those figures that you presented on the beginning of the presentation. Anyway, all right, wonderful. We had our wonderful CEO this week, and you know, if you didn't watch, please to watch. Get it straight from the horse's mouth. No, it's not a horse. Get it straight from Ashfari's mouth to your ears, so that you can you know, deliberate what you think he's saying, you know, personally. All right. But just to highlight a few things, right? He said that the SEC litigation have been challenging. However, it has been stressful. However, our case have been dealt with, has been dealt with, right? He will come on, right? He didn't say much on it. He will come back on another webinar and update us on what took place, I guess. All right, so that will be done on a separate webinar. All right, so stay tuned for that webinar where it unfolds exactly in a lot of details, I guess, but was the finding that is basically on the finish. All right, and so those information regarding the SEC will be given to us in a timely fashion. All right. Some people we trusted. Point number two. Some people that was being trusted was ultimately not with us. But Ashfari said that he took full responsibility, not passing the buck, not pointing the fingers per se, but those persons have been dealt with and will be dealt with, and etc., by the different legal directions, right? The survey was another thing that he talked about, and the survey that was taken by us. He actually had three figures or three levels in his mind. He had a low figure, he had a medium figure, and he had a high figure of persons who would be involved or would get involved in taking the survey. And you know, of course, when you take a survey, you just take a survey and go about your business, and you know, forget about it, you leave it alone. But one of the things that surprised him is that persons revisit the survey, apparently maybe to see if they put on the right answer. I don't know if there's a right answer or a wrong answer. But people revisit the survey at least 10 times for the day. My goodness, nobody not take survey and have it. But I mean, the only reason I went back to the survey was to give examples to others, to demonstrate, because persons were looking and seeing exactly where the survey was. All right, so we kind of did a overview of the survey on um, one of my deep dive programs, right? So, but apart from that, I mean, I survey is not is not taking an exam, you know. It's not like you can have wrong answers and right answers. You want to check and double check and recheck if your answers are correct. No, that's not a survey, all right? So anyway, for those who you know, check and recheck and double check if the answers that you gave was, you know, palatable to you, or I don't know who. Well, for you, very good, very good. But that was one of the things that surprised him, that people revisit the survey, you know, over 10 times, approximately 10 times for the day. The day. No, not for the duration of the time. For the day. All right, wonderful. But it was 3 times. 3 times his highest expectation of persons that actually got involved with the survey, which you know means a lot of people are still around, engaging in the background. Yes, I guess engaging in the background, not coming out to regular webinars, and maybe don't have the YouTube channels, not totally involved, not you know, but people are still engaged, right? Hundreds of thousands of persons came on the webinar, the last webinar that we had, which is a good sign that a lot of persons is still around, still focused, right? Thank you all very much. But yes, you have a life to live, and I need to feed the mouths in your household. So that is also understood. And we thank you for, well, Ashmafari, thank all of us for the survey. 90 to 98% of persons that got involved in the survey, which is very astounding, says that they are with Ashmafari totally, fully, 100%. With, no matter how long it take, no matter what duration of time, we're there. I mean, they are there. We are there. All right, ready to rock and roll as soon as you give the go ahead. They are there, ready to go. All right, so that is very profound. All right, and we are ready to go with a new vehicle. No matter we not chop work, but a change the spark plug. Nobody with all that. Don't change the ignition oil. Don't bother with that. Don't change the tires them. Don't give it a new paint job. No. Brand spanking new. That is just for you. Brand spanking new. That's what you want to see. Brand spanking new. Out with the old. Don't do that to your wives though. All right, but I do that with wives. No, out with the old and with the new. All right. Hey, why? Anyway, right. New vehicle. We need a new brand spanking new vehicle. Said 90 to 98% of persons that got involved. All right. In addition to that, some individuals that was a must, right, is no longer with us, right? Don't be distracted by that. Okay, they had their agenda. We have our agenda. Ash Mufare have his agenda. All right? Let us not be distracted. Right? Put on blinkers. What is happening on the side, leave it alone. All right? If I ask why, don't be surprised. Don't ask why. Don't be surprised. Don't ask why. Don't be surprised. Don't ask. Oh, not without it on this webinar. No after party. Okay. All right. So let Ash Mufare be very clear. Any decision that we take is not lightly taken. It's not, a spur of the moment. It will just come up out of a clear blue sky. It was not lightly taken. It was done with full reviews and always in best interest of the entire larger community of approximately 1 billion, no, not billion, 1 million, 1 million persons, right? That's a community, 1 million persons, and that is his outlook at all times, all right? Not about your 2 little persons when you might have, no, or you might introduce, or no, it's always about the larger community, because Shmufare always believe in transparency and integrity. That is where Ashmufare is always looking. Transparency and integrity. Okay, that's what the company is built on. That is what the company has been moving on, and that's what the company will always be fueled by. Transparency and integrity. So continue to share the things. If you're into share things, one day, it will come to life. All right, enough about that. Leave it alone. Okay, we are on the birth of something new, said by Ash Mufare. The birth of something brand spanking new, right? And so, he did talk about, because as you know, there's a lot of YouTube channels. So he did talk about a rotator also, and how does a rotator work, right? The rotator is what actually distributes. It distributes to different URLs. Okay, so say for argument's sake, in other words, Queen Kamala has a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel has a URL, right? You might ask, what is a URL? It's not unidentified. It is uniform resource locator. That is how you find a website. Simply put, it's a web address, right? That's all it is. It's a web address. URL is just a web address that points to your website, or in this case, what he did it for is the address for different YouTube channels. So for argument's sake, Queen Kandla have a YouTube channel, Dr. Benny, Dr. John, Dr. Patient, Queen Yvonne, etc., etc. All right, have a YouTube channel. Okay, so what they did is add all of these YouTube channels to the rotator. So you have one link, and you notice it was also one link, right? Which is oes.onpassive.com/update1. That was the one link that you were just to click on. And when you click on it, like I myself, I click on it, and it directed me to Canada YouTube channel where I could watch the program. Right? Then someone else click on the link, direct them to Dr. John YouTube channel. Someone else click on the link, it directed to Dr. Benny. Someone else click on the link, it directed to Queen Yvonne channel, right? All right, all of the channels then finish, start back again, right? Next person, Queen Kanla, next person, Dr. John, next person, Dr. Ben, next person. Right? So it just rotating. And that's all it's doing, rotating. So evenly distributing, right, to each and every YouTube channel from when someone click on the link. That's all. All right. However, very technical thing to actually create, right? Because it sounds simple, boom, 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 it'll rotate. But to create that is not boy or is not girl, right? All right. And even though Ashmafara said it took them approximately 3 hours, which in my estimation, that is awesome. Awesome for a person. Well, Ashmara said a person and a half. I don't know how him get half a person. Well, I mean, him that jokes, you know. It's just that most people not hearing what he's saying.
No,
But
that was
Ashmafara full of joke.
genius.
Ashmafara full of joke. Him say 1.5 person. Oh, praise the Lord. 1.5 person that actually did it. All right. And yeah, there's a movie that say 2.5 man. I think, yeah, 2.5 man. 1.5. There's a movie or something like that out. But anyway, 1.5 person within 3 hours, boom, rotator was there. Even before he asked for it. Never asked for it. He was just looking for something generic, third party, that he could just jump on and use and boom, 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 right? Boom. But no, that's the boss. Sir Ash, no man, we have one. We have one. Ready to go. No man, you're joking. I said ready to go. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. That is the type of commitment and the team that he now has, ready to work, ready to go. Right? So a link rotator, sometimes called a URL rotator, is a link that automatically redirects a user to a different destination. So this destination, Queen Yvonne, Queen Kanla, that's the YouTube channel we talk about. Those are different destinations, right? So you have one link that circulates with different destinations. And they created that, and it is owned. It is owned by Ashfari. All right. And in addition, he said, what should he do? Should he profit off it, or should he just give it as a, I think I'm going to just give it as a, I care. The type of heart the man still have. He will sell everything. No, not everything. Though you might talk about selling your soul and all them things. Because people sell soul, you know. You have people that sell them soul. So anyway, no, the heart that this man have is second to none. My estimation again. All right. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Was the update. And if you want to listen to all of it, right, in his words, please click on the same link. The same link would direct you to one of the YouTube channels that actually has it, so you can watch it from start to finish. All right. And so thank you very much, Queen Handler. Thank you very much, Queen Yvonne.
Oh my
Queen,
goodness.
really appreciate that's the updates.
No other person could have done it like you did, Dr. D. I mean, awesome. Thank you. And I mean, I would just say up till while we were about to begin the meeting, I logged into the OES, and as you're saying, the rotator is still working. Depending on when you click and which of the link you click, it takes you to different YouTube. On the day of the webinar, I thought something was wrong with my connection with my YouTube. You know, that was just me. I'm like, oh, this doesn't look right. Why should I be clicking on the updates and it's taking me to different YouTubes? So when you click, it will take you to a different leadership YouTube. You click, it takes you to another one. 15 minutes or 30 minutes later, if you attempt, it takes you to somebody else. Until our CEO talked about the rotator and what it was happening. And that was when it rang a bell. But doesn't it sound like what he told us? This time, I'm not going to be doing the talking before we act. Once the action has been taken, you only get to see it already working. It was so exciting to see that, to hear that, and it is still going on. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
I
it
feel
is.
so excited. I hope everyone is. And actually seeing the OES, I mean, going in there and opening those links and seeing it working.
Yep.
It is working. So thank you,
is.
Dr. Derek. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful updates. We truly
Absolutely.
appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank
Yes,
you.
we do. Okay. At this time, while we prepare to go in for the Q&A, and then I would like to call on the team Q&A. Oh, I can see our First Lady, Dr. Benny, is here. Over to you and Queen Yvonne.
Dr. Benny just smiling away there. We want to hear you speaking, Dr. Benny. Please come on.
I just want to be quiet.
No, we're not having that.
Well, this is where we cannot afford to have you quiet because
exactly.
You guys know how Dr. Derek knows what I will say. Greetings!
Yes. Greetings, Dr. Benny.
Oh man, happy Sunday, man. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday.
Happy Queen, happy.
Hey.
Welcome.
Yeah. Well, are you guys excited?
Oh, yes.
I am excited. Jesus Christ.
These are exciting times,
we
Dr.
needed
Benny.
that energy, Queen Yvonne.
I know.
Wow. Hey, we are what? How many of us? 27. Come on now. How many people left? You guys knew that I was coming and you left. Anyway, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Dr. Benny. Happy Sunday.
Before I say anything, you all know that I just want to take this special moment. First of all, I want to thank each and everyone coming here this Sunday. Exciting Sunday! You guys notice what King Dr. John said. Queen Yvonne. Hey, Mama me, man. Hey, sorry. I want to take this moment to thank our Heavenly Father for bringing each and everyone this afternoon, evening, morning. It all depends upon your location. As you all know, the importance of our Heavenly Father, because He created all of us in His image. We want to thank Him for the air that we're breathing at the moment, because we are not paying for it. I don't know. I know I'm not, but I just want to thank Him for bringing us together.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to introduce myself, and then I just want to thank my Dr. John and Queen Yvonne. I do, but let me just say, my name is D. Benny.
Yes.
And I am one of the question and discussion team here. I just want to thank you all for coming. Queen Yvonne Finn, proceed, please.
I am Yvonne Finn, as you said, and I am also part of the Q&D team, and I am very, very, very excited to be here. So thank you everyone for supporting us. We really appreciate you. No matter what the numbers are, you're all special to us. Thank you very much.
Great. Before I want to thank our Dr. John, our King, Dr. John. Thank you so much for your remarkable presentation on this generational wealth, preservation, and efficient transfer. Your insight were truly eye-opening and invaluable. We deeply appreciate the knowledge and the wisdom you share to us today. We can't pay for it. I mean, I don't have the dollars to pay you. And Queen Yvonne Finn, I want to really take this moment to thank you for your wonderful mindset today. Your positivity and your wisdom has truly inspired myself, I believe all of us, to uplift us. May you continue to shine and spread the light wherever you go.
Thank you,
King Dr. Derek, thank you for your astonishing updates from our magnificent Mr. Ash Mufere, our CEO. We truly appreciate the clarity, the inspiration, the dedication you brought in sharing this important information to all of us. Now, as you guys know, this is question and discussion. If you have any question when it comes to mindset, and our Dr. John, could you please raise your hands electronically, or you can write the question on the chat. Is there any excitement? Come on now. You guys know what has transpired, man. Did you guys know that? A lot of people did not know that ONPASSIVE is coming back. Hey, ONPASSIVE is here to stay in the name of Jesus.
Amen. Okay, all right. So shall I go to see what's on the chat, sister?
Yes, please. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay. I don't see any excitement yet, but I'd like to address some of the comments that I see here to, of course, Dr. John. So Dr. John is here with us still. So thank you, Dr. John. This question is from, it's not a question. Well, it's a comment. I'll just let you see what you can see about it. It's from Queen Aisha Anusa. She's saying that those, I think she was referring to when you were talking about the situation with your daughters, your children with the car situation, right? So this goes back to that. So those details should be asked for before insuring the car, not while going for claim. Do you kind of ken what she's talking about there, Dr. John? You're muted. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you do like a car insurance, obviously you want to know whether you're doing comprehensive or you're doing liability, and they do explain those type of things.
Right.
But the reason I was explaining this is the insurance company ended up handling it anyway, because they were just telling me when I was questioning why an insurance claim would be requiring me to provide so much personal information. And I questioned them because, yes, I'm the owner of the vehicle, but I was not the driver. So, and the driver was authorized to drive, licensed to drive the car. So I was questioning them why the documentation was coming to me, and I realized that when the guys went out to do the lawsuit, they had the insurance company and they had me as the car owner as the defendants. And the only reason the insurance company explained was that when these guys are trying to get you, they just throw the net as wide as possible. It's nothing to do with your car insurance. They just want to see how far, that's basically what they said, the fishing, and their lawyer has the right to do anything in discovery. So they went out and they found out that there was a liability insurance on my auto insurance for $1 million. And so if they were going to go after the insurance company, they know that if they became victorious, they could only go after $1 million. But then if on the other hand, again, the Sister Aisha, this is America for you. On the other hand, if they were able to establish my assets and figure out that my assets were more than $1 million, they could then say that they were hurt by my car and try to come after me as an individual.
Yeah.
And so the insurance company told me that that's why they were finding that information. And because they didn't even want to expose me to whether I had more or less than that, the insurance company wrote to that lawyer. Their lawyer said, listen, this is an insurance issue between driver X driving this car and driver Y. It was not a situation where, well, okay, I think the guys were looking to say, oh, was it a defect in the car that led to the accident, in which case they were literally trying to expand the whole thing now to bring me in. And the reason I brought that up was that when you have all your assets tied to you, you become a bigger target.
Of course.
But if those assets were protected somewhere and these guys gave me that form to fill, and they say, how much assets do you actually own? And I just put a big fat 0, and they went and ran my ID, and they found out that there's no car registered in my name. There is no stocks in my name. Then they would have sort of narrowed it to go back to the insurance company and try to fight it with the insurance lawyers. But because they thought, okay, let's look at this guy's address and see whether people who live in there can have assets of more than $1 million, and would it be better to go sue the owner of the car instead of going after the insurance? That's why they did. So it's not a matter of when you're going to buy your car, yes, and you're going to insure your car. You want to actually get the appropriate insurance for it. That's a different story altogether.
And as you were saying, that's applicable to maybe not everywhere. Obviously, it's not universal. You're talking about the US.
Yeah, in the US, when they want to sue you, they have to go, they even find out everything about, can we bring your mother-in-law into the equation? If they can cast the net as wide as possible. I mean, this was a case that the other driver was literally in the wrong. Because there are all these lawyers advertising that just come, let's go try and claim some money, maybe you'll benefit. If we don't win, you don't gain. The guy came and started 2 years after the incident and started talking about how they were not able to go to work because they were having these sleepless nights. Once you claim those type of soft emotional things, but the story was that if you are able to, again, you don't have to have huge $1 million of assets. I'm just saying there that if the cost is reasonable, your home, your cars, if you basically have a little trust, and as I think Shaggy did say, once you start then becoming the hunted, you better make sure that you have like a big protection on your back, because they're gonna target you and say this is somebody with worth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So the next point is from Grace Mukandawire. She's just thanking you, Dr. John. She says, thank you, Dr. John. Now I have a will because of listening to your great presentation. So there you go. You've had one person at least, well, I know, more than as one, I'm sure, who's protected themselves with at least the will now. So there you go, Dr. John. People are listening. And let's see, who else is here? There, I know I saw some other. Brother Shaggy has said, as you suggested, asset protection, can you put a property that is debt-free into a foundation, Dr. John?
Into a trust foundation, yes. If it's again, I would, once you start dealing with trust attorneys, most of the time, they tell you to put your assets, like if you've already paid off your property, I think it makes sense to put it in those type of a trust, because now, if I know now that Brother Shaggy his house is free and clear, and I know the house is worth a certain amount of money, people will go after him if they have to, because they want to get it. But again, when you talk to the professionals, they'll probably tell you that things like real estate especially becomes kind of trick in the sense that you don't want to just dump it into your trust, and then somebody looks at that entire trust, and all of a sudden your trust is worth 5 million. And because let's say it was a rental property, for example, and you had tenants, and then something happened, and somebody wants to sue you because of that house, and now your trust has like $1 million. Your $100 house is exposing your $1 million assets. So a lot of the professionals will probably tell you to create a real estate trust or even an LLC that owns that property, and then the trust owns that LLC. Why? Because now if you get into a headache with that LLC or with that property, and it starts to become a big thing, you could liquidate that LLC and let it all carry the losses, because the losses will end with that limited liability corporation, and you will not go all the way to your trust. And so a lot of them will say, if you own number 1 High Street, you may just create number 1 High Street LLC. You own number 6 Main Street, that becomes number 6 Main Street LLC. But all of those are owned by your family trust, not by you, if you can afford to. And then that way, you can literally you can isolate each particular entity and get rid of it if the worst happens.
If the worst happens. Okay, thank you, Dr. John.
That's been strategic, smart.
Yes, it is. It's nothing is illegal about it, is it? If you can get the
diversification.
If you can get the persons that you need to set it up like that for you, why wouldn't you do it? And that's exactly what wealthy people do though. They would rather pay the financial people, whatever their name, CPAs, whatever they are, they'd rather pay that and protect themselves properly. And why not? It's available to them, right? So as we go,
that is the power of information.
Exactly.
Which is what we have been shared with today by Dr. John.
Yes.
And it makes us even powerful and informed people, consumers. So when you go out there, we don't have the money now, but guess what? When our apple starts falling.
Yes, we'll have the knowledge, and knowledge is power when you put it to use, right?
Exactly. We will not want to be at that point before we start figuring out and start.
Exactly. We will want to be doing that. We want to be having fun and doing what we say we're going to do, lifting up humanity, right?
Correct.
We protect ourselves and then we do the rest. So thank you, Dr. John. I go over and over and over again. So this is what you're getting here from Queen Priscilla Cook and Queen Dr. Benny and Queen Nadine. They're all thanking you for this information because, you know, it's powerful. Knowledge is key. They're saying, bless you, right?
Right.
And so, yeah. Okay. Someone is Brother Shaggy. He's unable to open his mic. Okay. All right. Sorry, Doctor.
No, that was a long time ago.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Good evening, Dr. Derrick. Thanks for the presentation. One day, First Lady. I don't see any more. Please help.
Hi guys, how's everybody doing?
Oh, there you go. All right, hello, Brother Shaggy.
Sorry, I have some people walking on my house and I have to get up and go and see what they're doing.
Oh, okay.
Was my question answered, Dr. John? Can I put my house in a now that it's paid off?
Yeah.
Yes,
it
was answered.
Brother Shaggy, I have a trust I can give you to put the name of your property in it for you.
So I can benefit that. You know, I was thinking about what you're saying, right? This information, it's almost like it's in the books, but it's not delivered to us in the way that we can use it all these years.
Yes.
And now we have to just take advantage. Think about all the people I'm looking at on this screen, how much money you send overseas to help various charities.
Yeah.
You know, people that you know what they do, maybe Motherless Babies Home, you know, in Nikot, I think it's Ikotabasi, they have a leper colony. All the things that we do, that if we have set up a foundation, even if it's not $100,000, all this money we send would be able to get a tax break. I can't put anything in the tax break because there's no social security number, there's no FAIN, nothing. So nothing, you know, there's no way to capture back all these charitable things that we do, you know, for even whoever, because we just, it's just from our income, from already taxed income, not even from, you know, taxable that maybe they're going to add it to the taxes. No, we can't add it in our taxes. We just send all this money. Like I said the other day, Secret Service called me to say if I'm funding terrorism, because in 1 year they said $12,500. I'm like, wait, is there a way I can get a tax break on that? He said I should speak to my accountant. You know, so things that we just do that we have not such knowledge to create a foundation and then do all these donations, all this, you know, God help us. Now we can begin to think so that when things begin to happen in this organization, we can channel the money effectively. Even if we do help to humanity, which is our goal, we will set up a foundation. We'll set up a charity that will make us be able to track what's going on in a way that will give us, even if it's just tax benefit. I have a 501c, you know, but I didn't even think that could be treated like, you know, so I think I'll talk to you about that. You know, if it could be treated, I had that for 2 reasons. Because I buy things that has to be fixed, cooked, given out from Sam's Club and Costco. And they said if you're a 501c, we won't be putting taxes on them.
Right.
So I did that. And I tell my accountant every year, you know, every 3 years to file. But I never got enough donations to make myself get income from it, basically. Maybe that's next level. You know, I can get someone to, you know, write some whatever that I can present that would allow me. And then now I know, I just thought it's just to protect me from, you know, paying taxes here and there. And also when I file the taxes, to be able to see that I'm not paying additional taxes on the part that we contribute, you know, to the organization. But now that it can be treated like a trust, I think I need to sit down with you and find out. These are my questions. Thank you again for this valuable information that we should keep at the back of our mind. So we know there are better things we can do with money. You know, even if we want to buy a nice car, travel around the world, that's where we can prepare before we do that, so that those things will still enjoy it. Like, you know, Sister Yvonne said, so we're not just giving out charities and living in poverty, but at the same time, we will still be covered in terms of, you know, taxation, and anybody saying, you know, where's the money? So again, great job. This, you know, Harvard great lectures that we get free. We cannot pay you enough.
True.
Thank you for the mindset, Sister Yvonne, and all the
Thank you.
moderators that make this meeting always fun every Sunday, always a place to learn and grow. Thank you again.
Thank you, Brother
Thank
Shaggy.
you, Brother Shaggy.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes. I don't see anything. Let me see. This is from Queen Manny. She says, lovely greetings to all the kings and queens in this house from Ma Manny of Maryland. Love you all. It's been a long time since I've heard these very lovely voices. Bless you all. And also we're getting thank you from Mama Edith, Queen Edith, to all of us. She loves the presentations that we've just given today from myself, Dr. John and Dr. Derek, everyone. We're getting a lot of kudos and thank you from our supporters.
All right. Wonderful. Then that is always great when we have, and it's very engaging. We thank you, everyone. Thank you for your participation. It is truly appreciated. At this time, while we move on to the next agenda item, when we see we've gone beyond our time, then we know that it was truly a topic.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you for still being here, for the patience and still moving along. but we won't be long again. Let us just round this up now with the next couple of two webinar items. So at this time, I would like to call on our King, Dr. John, to give us closing remarks. Over to you, Dr. John.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for actually hosting and moderating this. As I said, this is something which, from a point of knowledge, is very useful. And just to say it over and over, it's meant to tell us that there are vehicles and tools out there that we should be able to reach out to the people that can actually help us. And when you're having those discussions with them, at least you have some idea of what it is that you're talking. Again, there is this saying that we don't know what we don't know. So knowing some of these things now that we don't know, we can at least, we are 50% there and we can actually fill the gaps. And I hope it was informative. I hope it was useful. This could be very complex things to set up, but you don't spend more than you need to spend to get what you want. If the key takeaway from here, as one of our queens actually said, is make sure that you have at least a living will for yourself, or that living trust, that living will, at least that way it has your instructions of what you want to do. And then as things start happening and we want to look at your assets, your assets feed you to be able to get a family trust, to start getting some of this business trust, or having this 501c3 or this charitable trust, and then you can put them in. You don't have to put them in that order which I showed you. I'm just telling you now that if you have all these different elements, you can combine them and use them in the best way possible. One final comment is, I'm not advocating that every one of us goes out there and creates a charitable foundation. I'm saying that those foundations, you can actually leverage them to achieve some of the things you want to do. So if Brother Shaggy, for example, has a 501c3 that is doing something, and I am also thinking about doing something in that same area, or 80% in that area, it doesn't make sense for me to go create another one, which every one of these creations has its paperwork and its documentation and expenses. Why not just go ahead and say, okay, I know this person, what he's doing aligns with what I want to do to help humanity. I can literally contribute to that organization, and because it's a registered organization, he's going to give me a tax deductible receipt that I can use now to do whatever I want to do it. So since we're working as a community, it's nice that we share some of these things and know who is playing where, so we don't have to all be trying to fit in the same square peg, in the same square hole. We can actually enable and actually help each other, or we can expand and collaborate. There's nothing wrong with that. So this is just knowledge to know that, again, if anybody reaches out to me, chances are that I'm going to just point them to somebody that I have talked with who knows more about that situation, or may be able to ask the right questions. But I thought that at least having that awareness is a great thing. So thank you once more for being part of this journey. And I'm excited that I had the opportunity to share it. So be blessed and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Dr. John.
Thank you, Dr. John. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and
Absolutely.
we appreciate the topic of today. Thank you. All right. We now go on to the next, which is going to be to bid farewell to our YouTube family. We know my YouTube has been busy as well. Very engaging.
Hello, Queen Carla.
Oh, there she is. I was about to call you. No, I was about to call you.
Sorry. Wow. What a great presentation. I can see the discussion, the engagement is taking us. Wow. This has been a longer presentation from Queen Yvonne. starting the mindset. Oh my goodness. You see, a lot of things in the living book. Whenever you brought it and link it in the living book, how we have to carry ourselves. Then I'm laughing. I was going to just share one quick story before you close. My mother, of blessed memory, my mom. I use mother-in-law because just for you to understand the relationship. We don't have law in my family. We decided we not use that word because once we become one family, we were one.
Yes.
And she kind of had a will, even though she was not educated. And because I heard people talk about estate, how much, how big. Let me tell you, what she was dividing, we were getting coins, okay? Coins. So that's her coins. She didn't want confusion.
Yes.
It was coins. If people in Cameroon, you know, you have 10 francs, 5 francs, 50 francs, 25 francs, 100 francs, whatever she decided. Then some people had 1,000 francs. It was down to coins. She divided it to her grandchildren. Everybody had something.
Wow.
The point I'm making is that don't think it is too small.
Exactly.
You want your wish to be carried out even when you have gone.
Yes.
Her wish was carried out.
Yes.
Up to her little tools that she takes to the farm. People that in Cameroon, you know, rise up, the hoe, the cutlass.
Yes.
Wield it to the people she wants to.
Yes.
A mortar that she pounds at through it. That mortar has been in the family for years. She wields it to the person that said you represent me and that you'll be making that food for the family because she was always cooking for the family. Okay, so she was purpose. She was intentional about what she did with that.
Absolutely.
Her clothes, she wields it according to. So please, let's not think that we don't have an estate.
That's right.
We all do. If you look deep, we all do have something.
We do. We do.
And let your wish come to pass by putting instructions. Right, so she just had this in an instruction that she called one of the grandchildren one day, and they actually wrote it down somewhere, and that's how we saw this instruction. And there's a cup. If you're from Cameroon, raise up your hand again. That's made from the horn of the cow. That cup has been in the family for more than 100 years. Dr. John, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
She wielded it. Who is the next person to carry that torch? That cup.
Of course. Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
So I would just want to share that.
Yes.
When you look at this, I'm like, oh, this topic is for the rich.
No, it's not.
That is for all of us. If you look deep, you have something. You have something you can.
I think there's a saying that says, "Do not despise small beginnings or small," right? So because this is how it grows. Gratitude is a multiplier. You know that.
Right.
The person who gets those things and they make something of it and they're grateful. You never know what can become of that. This is generational wealth. So she had a right idea. Right.
So the cups, that cup that has been in family for 100 years. That's very, very, very important to the family. That is not going anywhere. So hopefully Dr. John will know where to send that cup next. He's the caretaker of that cup. So that just fill out that one out. But
you're passing it down generational lane memory.
Yes. The point I'm making is that there are things that are very important to you. Think you'll see, search where you'll see, and make sure it goes to the right place.
Exactly.
Thank you all, team. As always, I was all over the place, but you guys just flow with the program. And we have some of our leaders that are in the wedding this weekend. Wedding is something that's beautiful.
Yes, it is.
And co. Enjoy yourself. And thank you, Dr. Derek and co. Let me not start calling. I miss somebody. my first lady, Queen Dr. D, and for the presenter today.
Yes.
Thank you. You always show up even at last minute.
Yes.
And you always say that I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And you come and incite people here to discuss for a very long time. I love you all. Let me shut my mouth. Over to you, Queen Kanla.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Dr. Patience.
Thank you. Thank you. And not only coming here, but that's how our Queen Dr. Patience, she
Queen Kanla, before I forget, I dropped the link of the YouTube in the chat a while ago around 2:32. If you want to go back and replay and listen on that presentation and any other presentation you find on that channel.
Correct.
Please, we have a lot of knowledge here. You can go to the YouTube and follow. Thank you.
All right. Thank you too. And if you don't find it, there are many more other YouTubes that carry that. So please pick up the link. And if you are not here, spread the word for other members who will join to watch, let them be able to also go and watch it. So thank you, Dr. Patience. I want to say a special thank you to everyone on YouTube. Your participation has really been infectious. I'm sure you may have seen me looking down. I was looking at what is going on in YouTube. So thank you. You were engaged.
Yeah.
Everyone loved it. Positive energy. And thank you, Queen Rose, for all you're doing, managing. Thank you, Dr. Pat, as well, for engaging in YouTube. We've come to the end of the webinar for today, for this week. And so for the week, there will be other webinars that you can attend to follow up, to stay updated. On Mondays, we have Miriam, our Queen sister Miriam, Mindset Monday. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have Dr. Derek, Deep Dive Globally Changing Life. On Wednesdays, for now, we no longer have Queen Julie, but hopefully she will be back. And let us still continue to put her and her daughter Chloe in prayers, as well as all other family, ONPASSIVE family who are out due to illness, whether at home or at hospital, or if they're taking care of family members. We extend our prayers to them all. And on Friday, we do have the live webinar session with our two sister, Queen Yvonne, but we do have the recorded that is on Monday to Thursday. So please, there are many more of these webinars that we can attend in preparation for us to get back here on Sunday, back again with the Dream Team. And also, do not need to forget, I think it's All Passion Malaysia, Thursday morning.
Yes.
Yes, please. There is also that you can join, and you can follow up with any other updates about what is happening in our company. So thank you all. And if you're able to join us on the Zoom, please do that at this time. Thank you. We love you. And we look forward to seeing all of you back sometime next week on Sunday. All right. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Okay. Dr. D, I think I